Alright guys, so today I'm going to give you the 4 mistakes that I made during my first triathlon, so hopefully you guys don't end up making the same mistakes that I did. Before I get into it though, it's important to understand that I did the sprint distance of triathlon, which is the shortest distance, so if you guys are going to do a longer distance, this may or may not apply to you, but for most beginners, you're going to be doing the short distance like I did, the sprint triathlon. So let's get into it. Alright, the first mistake that I made was I didn't do enough brick runs. So what a brick run is when you get off your bike and immediately start running. So when I trained for the triathlon, I did a little bit of weight training, but mostly I ran, and then some other days I would bike, and then some other days I would swim. What I should have done is I should have incorporated a lot more of biking and then immediately getting off my bike and going into a run. The reason for that is after you get off the bike in the race, your legs are going to be completely shot. So it's good to get used to that feeling and be able to still run while you feel like you got a gunshot in your legs. So that's the first mistake I made. The second mistake that I made was I way overestimated the swim portion and I way underestimated the biking portion. My logic going into this was most of us learn how to ride a bike when we're little kids. You know, how hard can it be? If you get tired, just don't pedal as hard. Seems logical, did not work out that way. The biking portion is by far the hardest part of the triathlon. And in my opinion, the swimming portion is by far the easiest. Now, I know what you're thinking, oh, I'm not a swimmer, I don't swim so good, I'm worried. Look, I thought my number one concern going into this was that someone was going to have to pull me out of the water because I got too tired. I was honestly scared of that. I was scared of getting embarrassed and one of the, whoever's in charge of it or whatever, they have people out there on little rafts and stuff, having to paddle over towards me and rescue me because I got tired when I was trying to swim. Not even close to the case. There was like a couple hundred people that did the triathlon at the same time as me, from all different age groups. So I'm not talking about my age group. Out of all those people, I believe I got like the 3rd fastest swim, and probably like I don't have the exact numbers at my disposal right now, but somewhere in the 150s for fastest bike. So if you can get what I'm saying is, I came out there, boom, I swam, it was easy. I got out of the water, got on the bike, and I had a lead that I had built, and not only did I lose that lead, but I went way to the back of everyone else. Now, there's other factors for that too, but the point for this is the biking you should train for a lot more than you might expect. In the swim portion, you should stress about way less than you probably already are. Okay, the third mistake that I made also has to do with the bike. Now, I mentioned that I got somewhere in the 150s out of 200 for my place in the bike, and part of that was I didn't do as much biking as I should have, but another part of it is you're not going to be able to compete with people who have triathlon bikes. Okay, to people that are new to this, there are specific bikes designed for triathlons that basically what they do is they make you very, very aerodynamic. Now, you might not think that makes a big difference, but it makes a huge difference. So I did this on a road bike, and don't get me wrong, if you're going to do this on a road bike, there's nothing wrong with that. I was fine. If I trained harder on the bike, I would have done much better. But there's no way that anyone on a road bike is going to compete with anyone on a tri bike. Regardless of how good your road bike is and how bad their tri bike is, it's just their bike is designed for this. Don't think that you're going to have, just don't come in with expectations that, oh, I'm going to win this, and you got yourself a road bike. If you want to do a triathlon, it's a great idea. Do it for yourself. Don't try to go out there and win. That can come later. After you get a bunch of experience and you want to go out there and win, and you got some money saved up for a tri bike, get the tri bike, train on it, then you can talk about winning. But if you don't have some nice equipment like that, or if you're on a budget like me, try not to worry about that, okay? Because it's not going to happen. Now, that being said, if you got even a Walmart bike, don't worry about it. Go ahead and race. nobody's going to be judging you for it. A lot of people who are on these super expensive bikes, I talk to them. They used to be in the same boat that you and I were. Okay, they didn't always have those bikes. They started off like we did with crappy bikes that aren't so fast. Okay, so don't be discouraged by that, but just try not to compete and don't set your goals according to where you're going to place, because it's just not a realistic goal. Alright, the fourth and final mistake that I think I made is I was way too nervous. There's really nothing to be nervous about, especially if you take steps like I did. Like I started off doing the sprint triathlon. I would encourage anyone else to do that too. Just start off with the shortest distance, get that under your belt, and then maybe go to Olympic, which is the next level up. If you do that, there's totally nothing to worry about. You know, I put in the time, but I still doubted myself. And most of that is just because this is all new to me. But as soon as you get there, you know, I was worried that things would be complicated. Like I wouldn't know where to go. I wouldn't know how to set up my bike. I wouldn't. People there would be super competitive. Now people are competitive in the sense that they want to do well themselves, but people are not competitive in the sense that they want to do better than you. You know, people are actually very, very friendly there. These are some of the nicest demographics of people that I've ever talked to in my life, and that's the honest truth. I really do mean that. The people there were so cool, and I think that's just the community of any kind of endurance athletes in general tend to be very, very cool and very humble people. So don't be nervous. If you put in the time and put in the work, nothing to be worried about.